Long before the clans spread across the Kikuyu lands, there was a hidden grove, tucked away beneath the mighty Mukura wa Nyagathanga, the sacred origin place of the Kikuyu people. This wasn't just any grove. It was a place steeped in shadows and secrets. No one, not even the bravest warrior, dared to set foot inside it after the sun dipped below the horizon. The elders, their voices hushed with a deep-seated fear, whispered of something ancient that dwelled beneath the gnarled roots of the sacred fig trees. They spoke of a presence older than the 9 daughters of Kikuyu and Mumbi, older even than the very soil that gave them life. They had a name for it: Krutokia Karimo, the curse of the mountain. Very few had ever claimed to have seen it, and those who did, well, they were never the same again. In a small homestead nestled close to the edge of this forbidden grove, lived a hunter named Wat. He was a man carved from the earth itself, known throughout the lands for his unparalleled bravery, his formidable strength, and a stubborn pride that bordered on arrogance. Wachira feared nothing. He laughed in the face of snarling hyenas, walked past burial grounds without a second thought, and scoffed at tales of wandering spirits and ancient curses. To him, they were just stories told to frighten children. One evening, as dusk painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, he discovered strange, unsettling tracks near his goat pen. They were not from any animal he recognized. A cold fury settled in his heart. Standing before the elders, he made a bold declaration, his voice ringing with defiance. "Tonight, I will make my camp beside Mukura wa Nyagathanga. Let whatever creature hunts my goats come and face me directly." The elders were horrified. They pleaded with him, their faces etched with genuine concern. "No man stays there at night," Wachira, one of them, warned, his voice a low rumble. "The ground remembers the first blood ever spilled. It is an ancient hunger, one that never sleeps." But Wachira merely laughed, a sound that seemed to mock their caution. He dismissed their pleas with a wave of his hand, hoisted his heavy spear onto his shoulder, and began his march toward the silent, waiting grove. As he stepped under the canopy of the ancient trees, the world seemed to change. The air grew heavy, thick, almost wet, clinging to his skin like a shroud. A profound stillness fell over the grove. There was no wind rustling the leaves, no chirping of crickets, no rustle of unseen animals in the undergrowth. Even the moon, which had been bright in the clear sky, seemed to dim its light, as if refusing to illuminate this sacred, haunted place. Wachira, undeterred, began to build a fire. But something was wrong. The flames, once they caught, seemed to recoil. They bent and twisted away from the heart of the grove, as if they too were afraid of what lay hidden in the darkness. He sat, spear in hand, waiting. The hours crawled by. Then, at the stroke of midnight, a foul smell began to rise from the earth itself. It was a putrid, metallic stench, like rotten meat and old blood, so suffocating it made his eyes water. Wachira quickly covered his nose with his cloak, his bravado finally beginning to fray at the edges. A low tremor started vibrating up from the ground beneath the great fig trees. Something was moving. It was a slow, dragging sound, the sickening noise of wet flesh sliding over damp roots. Wachira's knuckles turned white as he tightened his grip on his spear. He leapt to his feet and shouted into the oppressive darkness, "Show yourself." The only answer was a profound, echoing silence. Then, a faint voice whispered directly behind him, "Wachira." He spun around, his heart lurching in his chest. There was nothing there. The trees stood like silent, skeletal sentinels. The voice came again, this time softer, laced with a familiar pain that sent a chill cascading down his spine. "Wachira, help me." His blood ran cold. He knew that voice. It belonged to his younger sister Wangechi, who had been taken by a fever many years ago. His heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. "Wangechi," he called out, his own voice trembling. A faint, ghostly figure began to take shape between the trees. It was small, thin, and shivering as if from a terrible cold. "Brother, it hurts," she whimpered. She took a step forward, but her movement was unnatural, grotesque. Her joints bent inward at impossible angles, her head tilted too far to one side, and her feet dragged along the ground as if they were dead weights, no longer part of her body. As she drew closer, he saw her eyes. They were not the warm, bright eyes of his sister. They were black, empty circles, voids that seemed to swallow the dim light. "Come to me," she pleaded, her voice a hollow echo. "I'm so cold." Wachira stumbled backward, his mind screaming, You are not her," he stammered. The thing that wore his sister's face stopped. Its expression twisted, the skin pulling and contorting until its mouth stretched in a horrifying grin that reached from ear to ear. "Then," it whispered, and the voice was no longer human, but a chorus of scraping guttural sounds. "You should not have come here." At that moment, the ground behind the apparition split open. A massive amorphous shape began to crawl out from the fissure. It had long, boneless limbs that spasmed and twitched, and a body that pulsed rhythmically, as if it were breathing beneath a sheath of torn, decaying skin. Its face was a vortex of shifting shadows, a featureless mask of pure terror. The forest plunged into absolute darkness. The fire didn't just go out, it vanished without a single wisp of smoke, as if it had never existed. The creature's shadow face opened, and a cacophony of voices spilled out into the night, the sounds of men, women, and children all crying, begging, and screaming in agony. They were the voices of all the souls it had devoured over the centuries. Wachira finally turned to run, but the forest itself seemed to conspire against him. Paths that were clear moments before now twisted into dead ends. Roots snaked up from the ground to trip him, and branches like skeletal fingers grabbed at his legs, tearing at his skin. He stumbled and fell, his spear clattering to the ground. The creature's immense shadow swallowed the trees, the grove, the world. The chorus of damned voices whispered his name again. Wachira, join us. Come underground. Come where the first blood sleeps, he screamed, a raw, primal sound of pure terror, and began clawing at the earth. But the ground beneath him had softened, turning to thick, grasping mud. Then he felt them, hands, dozens of them, cold and clammy, reaching up from the soil. Icy fingers wrapped around his ankles and legs, pulling him down with an irresistible force. He fought, he kicked, he shouted until his throat was raw and bleeding, but the earth showed no mercy. It swallowed him whole, pulling him down into the suffocating darkness beneath the roots. And then, the grove was silent once more. At dawn, a search party of villagers cautiously approached the sacred grove. They found only Wachira's spear lying at the edge of the trees. It was snapped clean in half, and coated in a dark, foul-smelling slime that stank of death and decay. No one spoke his name again. His pride had led him to a fate worse than death, but even now, on nights when the wind whispers through the leaves of the sacred fig trees, some villagers claim they can still hear a man crying from deep within the earth, a man begging to be pulled out, before his voice is cut short by a scream, as something drags him deeper into the darkness. The elders still issue their warning, their words carrying the weight of generations. Mukawa Nagathanga gave us life, but beneath it sleeps something ancient, and it wants that life back. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy stories that explore the darker side of folklore and legend, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more tales from the shadows.